Good afternoon. My name is Megan Foley, and I will be doing a persuasive speech on why you should eliminate alcohol from your life. And this is for public speaking at the Orange County campus. So before I jump in, I'm not, doing many slides, and I just one of my slides is going to cover some of the effects. I want to start out with the purpose of my persuasive speech, and it's basically to help you better understand why you should stop drinking and, some of the detrimental effects it can have on your body, as well as other aspects as well. We live in a world today where drinking is normalized. It's like you go to a restaurant, there's alcohol. You go to a movie, there's alcohol. Go to a gas station. Basically, anywhere you go, I feel like there's alcohol and it's available. And it can be really hard to say no to. Sometimes you have to take a step back and, realize like, yeah, that might be what a lot of people are doing, but is this what I really want to do? Or I just feel like I should because other people are doing it. So basically, there there have been a lot of studies that have shown, that over time, the more you drink, the worse it is on your health. Especially as people get older, and I'm going to talk about that, like side effects that are terrible, that different diseases. It affects the organs, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But basically, I wanted to start off with talking about me from personal experience. So I 2 years ago decided to stop drinking. It was a personal choice. It wasn't like, I was forced to or anything like that. But for me, I noticed I was drinking a lot in college. After college, it kind of transferred over. And I found myself, after work having a glass of wine or, that turned into two. And then I found myself going out on weekends, and that's what all my friends were doing. And over time, it really started to take a toll on my body. Like I'd wake up and I was not motivated. I'd feel fogged and I wouldn't feel good. I'd feel anxious. And I just got tired of feeling that way. It got old fast. And if I wanted to be able to have a functional day and get some things accomplished, that wasn't going to happen if I was drinking the night before. Um, Same with as far as working out goes. Like when I was drinking a couple years ago, I was not consistently working out. I didn't really care about what I was eating. Um, when I was intoxicated, it's like, oh, diet, whatever, healthy food out the window. And yoga classes I'd sign up for, or any type of workout class, or even going to the gym, cancel on friends, because I didn't have the energy, or just I couldn't function very well. All I wanted to do was be lazy and lay around and just kind of I'd sit in my thoughts, and I would start to feel kind of depressed, honestly, towards the end. And I know everyone's different, and it's definitely can be a hard thing to give up, but I do think if you are able to and you have the opportunity to, it would be a really good way to, you know, start fresh and be able to wake up in the morning feeling good and feeling rejuvenated, and feeling like you have a sense of accomplishment, because I know most mornings I wake up feeling that way now. Sometimes I'm feeling off and I'm not feeling great, and whether I'm tired, lack of sleep, that type of thing, but I still feel better than I would if I had a hangover. And so that's one thing I really don't miss. And another thing I want to bring up from personal experience is I don't think people understand the impact it can have on your body. Like, it can really affect the way that your system operates, multiple organ systems, but it affects the mind, it affects the liver, and it also affects relationships. Like whether it's friends or family or a boyfriend, it can really you know, stupid things can happen when you're drinking. Your judgment goes out the window. So, fights that wouldn't normally happen or disagreements, that type of thing, those might not happen if, drinking wasn't involved. And that's something I had to take a step back and look at too, because when I look back and reflect on, you know, the different times I went out and how fun was it that night? I I think a lot of it, like, was it fun or was I just like doing it to pass time and like avoid feeling awkward? And it's interesting because you know, fights with a boyfriend happened. My family started to notice a little bit. They're like, "You've been going out a lot." Or like, "Have you been drinking more?" Just here and there, they started to pick up a little bit. Like, it just seems a little excessive. And um that still, you know, wasn't enough for me. I had to figure it out on my own without, you know, but I had problems that I feel like wouldn't have occurred if I wasn't drinking. It doesn't need to have it doesn't have to be big problems. It doesn't mean you have to be get in legal trouble, um, or you know, go have someone that tells you you need to go somewhere because they're really worried about you. It can be just a decision for you because you want to be healthier. Um, and that's really what it comes down to. I think I started to, as I got older, started to care about my health more than I did before when I was younger in college. And that's something I do value, especially as being a nursing student now and knowing the type of work I'm going to be getting into and working with patients and, you know, working long hours. It's like this is something I'm very serious about. And if drinking was involved for me, it I just don't think it would work very well for me to be able to function in nursing school or be a nurse long term. Um, so I might have rambled a little bit, but these are just some of the reasons that I believe you should take a second look or, you know, think about some of the reasons you do drink. And, you know, I think ultimately when you do think about the reasons you do, I think that you'll be able to make that decision for yourself that, oh, maybe it is a good idea for me to cut alcohol out of my life, or maybe I should try it and see what it's like. Because that's another thing. If you don't want to do it long term, um, try it for a month or two. I do think that you will be amazed at how much better you feel and just how much happier you might be with life. Um so that's as far as personal experience goes, what I wanted to bring up. But another thing in the next slide that I was going to touch base on was what I brought up a little bit before, but these are statistics from the CDC on the effects of alcohol. So in this, one of the diagrams shows, you know, it impairs cognitive abilities. It can create irregular heart rhythms. It can cause liver diseases, stomach inflammation, and a weakened immune system. And those are all like health wise, yeah, that's what it can do to your body. And I looked up, I did see some statistics, and one of them, another one according to the CDC and a website that's mentioned, Raypol, they mentioned that excessive alcohol use has immediate effects that increase the risk of many harmful conditions, health conditions. And so some of these include, it doesn't have to be just the body. Some of these include injuries such as motor vehicle accidents, violence, alcohol poisoning, high blood pressure, mental health problems, social problems. And it can run into just basically having alcohol use disorder as well, where it becomes almost like your body is dependent on the alcohol, where you can't stop. And that's where another reason that some people will go get help, and because they can't stop themselves, which is an even more significant issue. um but I think mainly with the effects of alcohol, like I remember I'd gone to the doctor as well, and big things to consider that can happen as well long term are like cirrhosis and fibrosis. Those are both things that are like, and keep in mind that's due to heavy drinking. You'll see that more in people in their 50s, 60s. I mean, it depends, sometimes 40s. But those are just things to think about long term. You know, because the more, you know, if you've been drinking for a long time, it all the time adds up. So another thing that I want you to consider, and like a question I have for you is like, how many friendships have been strained or lost due to alcohol fueled conflicts or misunderstandings? Maybe some of you can count at least a few times, or more than that. I know I could. And that was a question where for me I was like, is it worth it for me to do this? Like keep doing this to myself? And yeah, that's just something that I want you to think about because that question for me, um, friendships and families, those are really important to me, and I'm sure they are for you too. And so that's nothing, I don't want something like alcohol to get in the way of that. And so yeah, that's something that basically I wanted you to think about. And I'll end with this. This is just my last side references. I know when I stopped drinking, I did think my life was over. I was like, oh, like this is gonna be boring. Like it's gonna be awkward. I guess I'm not gonna go out with friends. But like a whole new perspective kind of like lit up for me. I the truth is there's more to life than just drinking. There's so many hobbies that I've discovered when I stopped drinking or things that I realized I like to do. Whether it's joining a book club, doesn't have to you don't have to drink you don't have to drink that, even though I do have friends that do. Um, hiking. Another one is reading, yoga. Those are just a few of the hobbies that I've just, that I've taken up. But another one is just like going for bike rides or doing cooking classes. Those are all things like I've kind of been able to figure myself out more as I've gotten older and eliminated that from my life. And I think, that's just something that you should think about. Think about some hobbies you might like. What are some things that might interest you? And I've just been able to kind of expand on what I do like, and I've been able to enjoy these hobbies without drinking. And it gets easier in time. Was it easy at first? No, it was still hard. It can be hard at times still. But you know what? I can still go to dinner with my friends and have a fun time without drinking. It's one of those things that I've gotten used to, and you don't have to get a drink. And my friends are super understanding. Like they aren't peppering me like, why aren't you drinking? Like some of them have decided to cut down on drinking too. And so you can still have fun at lunch or dinner or whatever it is without having to have a drink. Um, so basically by choosing to eliminate alcohol from our lives, we can achieve our goals, feel more driven, have self-confidence, and strengthen relationships. So, in conclusion, imagine waking up each morning feeling rested, clear headed, and ready to start a day free from a foggy mind and a hangover. And I'll leave it at that. One last question is what's keeping you from avoiding a future life without alcohol today? All right. Thank you.